تحتاجوا التعاون والثقه معايا يقفى انا جايه نسوي ماشي باش تغاون الجوا
خليتي في السي ربيع عمر السيتيرنا ديالو
انا ماشي قحبه كنغني
Artistry, ambition, and one woman's determination to be the author of her own destiny. Everybody Loves Touda is Morocco's entry to the Academy Awards, with the magnetic Nisrin Erradi playing the central character. Its director, Nabil Ayouch, is once again challenging sexist norms and social constructs in this powerful film. He joins us in the studio to tell us more. Nabil, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Now, this latest film is centred on one woman, her determination to become a singer, a very special type of singer, a sheikhat, who specialises in this art form, sung poetry of sorts, called Aita. Tell us about this art form and its place in Moroccan society.
It's a very ancient art form, actually, because the singing poetry appeared around the 9th or 10th century. It was only sung by men at that time, and it disappeared until the 19th century to reappear and sung this time by women, the sheikhat, that were the first ones to dare singing publicly. And it's a poetry and song that are talking about political battles, the life of the country at that time, but also, and that's the interesting part, in those songs, those women are talking about love, about desire, about the body, about many topics that were very subversive at that time, as you can imagine.
And this film is carried by the incredible performance of your main character, Touda, played by Nisrin Erradi. I believe she had to undertake some serious musical training to do those performances. When you were briefing her about the role, what was the most important part of Touda's story, her personality, that you wanted to come through in the performance?
Well, actually, Nisrin, as you said, is magnetic in the film. She's a very gifted actress, and she had to learn how to sing, how to dance, how to move, how to talk like sheikhat, because as you've seen in the film, they have their own language, to be authentic. And to pay also the right tribute to those women. And somehow I felt attracted by Nisrin as the main part of this film, and I chose her also because she has all the qualities in terms of character, of energy and of strength that Touda has in the film.
Serious determination indeed. Well, let's take a look at Nisrin as Touda. Here's a clip of the film. Touda comes up against a lot of obstacles, and many of them are about the fact that she's a woman. We see cases of misogyny, but also serious violence against women as well. It does take the film into more socio-realist territory, and it feels very critical of men. Was that deliberate?
Yes and no. It's true that those women are fighting, and especially Touda, as we see in the film, to be seen for what they are, meaning artists and not object of desire. And it's a long and difficult fight, but that's the main determination of Touda by leaving her village and coming up to Casablanca. Of course, she has to face the look of the men in those cabarets, in those bars, the luxury and so on. But in the same time, I didn't want to make a monochromic movie and say all the men are bad and the women are good, which is not the case. That's why there are 3 male characters in the film that are supporting Touda very much. Father, this musician that we see guiding her in the night of Casablanca, and her son. And her son is her biggest love. And she's probably the main reason why she's fighting for.
And as you say, these are not one-dimensional characters. The women are also complex, not all bad, not all good. But there is, once again, this question of a woman's so-called respectability, moral purity that you've raised in your films before. Why do you think that's so important in Moroccan society?
It's important when we want to face a reality and fight hypocrisy, because the saddest thing with those Sheikha that I'm talking about is the destiny that they had, because as we said before, they were seen a long time ago as heroines. They played a major part in the building of the country. And as long as they left the villages to come up in the big cities, around the 50s, 60s, 70s, they had to sing in those places where there is alcohol, money, and so on. And suddenly their image began to change, and they were more seen as prostitutes, sex workers, rather than artists. And I think there's a kind of injustice that is hurting me, and I decided that it would be very important to restore their dignity, their honor, and say who they are really, like a wake-up call.
And what they've contributed. And I noticed that in recent films of yours, Casablanca Beats, there was music at its center. One of the characters uses music as a means of escape in Razia. What's your own relationship with music? Was it important to you growing up, finding your way?
You know, that's the weird thing is that we sometimes I observe in Moroccan society and the region where I live, how much for some people it's hard to express themselves freely during a debate or a conversation by words. But suddenly, because we're a country where music, singing, is very important. Suddenly, as long as the body moves, even more conservative ones, but there is a body language, there is another way of expression that becomes even more important. And for me, music is like a tool how to express for many, many people in Morocco. I've shown that in Everybody Loves Touda, but also in Casablanca Beats, of which you're showing right now some images in these cultural centers. For these youngsters, that's probably the most important thing in their life.
Yeah, it's an expressive vehicle. Now, this film had, Everybody Loves Touda, had its national premiere at the recent Marrakesh Film Festival. Your films have not always had a warm welcome in Morocco. In 2015, your film Much Loved was banned because it did feature some aspects of sex work in Marrakesh. This film, Everybody Loves Touda, doesn't always show Moroccan society in a positive light. What's the reception been like so far?
Well, I think it shows the Moroccan society in a positive way, as long as we want to see those women as they are, as long as we, as I told you before, want to fight the hypocrisy. And I think that many people today in Morocco, men and women, because the statue of the woman is changing very quickly, for thanks God, are willing that change, are willing to give a better place for women in the society. And I could observe that during the rehearsal of the film at Marrakesh Film Festival, but also because the film has been released last week in Casablanca, the whole country, that people were really, really willing to hear other stories. And that they could see those women, they could see the character of Touda as someone that could somehow show a new way.
Now, you co-wrote the screenplay for Everybody Loves Touda with your wife, Mariam Touzani, whose own films have been applauded for challenging norms around gender and sexuality. What does she bring to your creative process that you couldn't achieve on your own?
Many things, because she brings sensibility and specificity. We share the same point of view. We share the same look at the world, the same inspiration most of the time, and love, passion.
Definitely.
But it's true that we have our own way of expression, and when we are together, and we do actually everything together. We co-write her scripts, my scripts. It's beautiful because it's natural, and because we bring to each other probably what the other one is claiming for without being able to say it sometime. There's a kind of a complementarity between us that we cherish.
Sort of artistic fusion. Now, finally, we asked you what's on your cultural radar, what you've enjoyed recently. And you mentioned Moroccan photographer, contemporary artist Hassan Hajjaj, who has a new exhibition at the moment in Casablanca.
Yes, I really like the work of Hassan Hajjaj. He's a Moroccan contemporary artist, photographer. He's doing exhibition all over the world, even if he's based between Marrakesh and London. And right now there is an exhibition of Hassan in Casablanca. That's why I wanted to mention him and put a focus on his art.
Okay, and I believe that exhibition has something acrobatic about it. We'll leave you with a clip of those images. Thank you very much for the tip, and thank you for joining us today, Nabil.
Thank you.
Well, indeed, that show is on at the Atelier 21 Gallery in Casablanca, but we'll leave you with some images. Do check in with us next time on Arts 24 for more movies, arts and culture. There's more news coming up just after this.